Hi, welcome back to another video, and today we have a Leonidas mechanical multi-calendar watch. So this is coming for a service, a bit of a restoration. We're going to keep all the hands and dial original, nothing's going to change there, but obviously it's going to have a service, new glass, probably keep the crown, put a new seal in the crown, and then obviously go through, service, overhaul the movement. So we'll have a quick check of the functions first before we get the back off, just to make sure we can test what's working. So it's nice to test it in the case. So you've got the protection, the pushers pushing down in the right position. Sometimes if you decase a watch and you push in, you can slip, and you're not always getting the right angle. So we'll know in situ what's working and what's not working. So just to avoid any confusion of where the calendar mechanism's picking up any wheel or disc, I'll pull the hands out and just make sure we're not at midnight. So that's just gone round there, but I'm not confident if it's caught on. So there you go, that's midnight there. It just moved the date over to the 15th, and we'll get round past 6 AM because normally the moon phase turns in the morning on some watches. So there we go, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So let's just see. In fact, I'll move these hands a little bit further around there so you can just see the day and the month. So I'll just push in there so we know the month manual jumper's working. Let's see what this one does, and that's the date quick change. That's good news, that's working. I'll just turn it around so I can just keep this in my right hand, and the day is working too. So this one must be the moon phase. Now it did move then, but it's not allowing me to push it in again. So either it's the spring's not pushing it all the way and it's not springing back, or the date, sorry, not the date, the actual disc is stuck. So that's something we'll need to investigate. So let's get the back off. I know the watch isn't running. I've had a quick look before, so the back's back on. So I'm going to get it off for you. So I'm going to show you a nice trick. See all these scratches here over the years. There's all marks all over this case where people have had the back off and slipping. Don't use a case knife. Use a tool like this. I'll just bring that in. You see that? So this is for getting case backs off. It doesn't work on every case, but it works on a lot of cases. It's actually a tool made by Rolex there, reference to 118 and .90 or -90. But basically, I think it was designed for the Cellini range because they have snapbacks. So this will get a case back off without damaging it. So each one of these notches here is two, the different lengths. So pick the right one. So I don't think it's that one, or maybe it is. So it just goes in and locks in there. Can you see it's locked in? And then it uses the horns of the case to keep steady. So I'm just going to go in one motion. Hopefully I can catch this on the camera. There you go. There's no way you can slip, and if you did, it's a tiny amount. You're not slipping across the case back. You'll just scratch here if you were to slip, and that's easily rectified. You scratch here, you could go across the engraving, you have to regrain it. So yeah, try and use the correct tools. So case knives there's always a tool for something, and the case knife is a bit of a no-no sometimes. So there you go. So that's just the case back there. Geneva spot work in the back. And here's the movement, which is a prime example of what I've just been talking about. Is this. Now, that's a case knife gone in there. It's scratched all here and here. Now, you won't be able to get rid of this because under here will be brass. This is nickel plated. So you can't polish this out because you'll expose all the brass work underneath. So that has to stay unless you can get a new bridge. That scratch now is permanent. So someone's gone in and done that by not using the correct tool. So yeah, it's a little bit annoying when you see it. It could be avoided. So let's put it on the case cushion. So when I got this watch in, I checked the balance staff. So I do know the balance staff is okay. There's a nice amount of end shake there. It's not worn, but it obviously, the watch is stopped. Now it could just be it's dry. Piece of dirt's got in there, and also it could be the mainspring lid's blown. So the mainspring's broken, it's blown the lid, so there's no play, and it's taken up all the gap, so it just stops the watch. Or the bush under here is worn and it's closed in, took all the depth from the teeth and has stopped the watch. So this is something we need to investigate. So first thing is to get the movement out the case, get the hands and dial off, and then we can start investigating what the problem is and get the watch stripped down. Okay, so this movement comes out the front. So with my case knife, I've just removed the bezel. I just placed it back on, but I did use a case knife. That's the only tool I could use there. None of my other tools would fit, so that was the right time to use the case knife. So just going to back off the two case screws, which are located here and one over here. So I'm just going to back these off. So the movements just start to drop down slightly. That's one. Two. So I'll just, rather than tipping the watch upside down to get the screws out, I'll just use some Rodico. That's one of the case screws. And that's the other one. So obviously the watch is going to go through the cleaning machine. So I've got a basket here. So I'm just going to put the screws into the basket. So they're done. So your setting lever screw is here. So we need to undo this. And we can extract the stem. Well, that's quite loose, that actually. There you go. So there's the stem. Lots of dirt. It's actually hair, unclothing materials on the stem, as you can see. So yep, I'll clean that. So case cushion onto the back. Turn it round. Show you this way. So let's see, I don't want to go anywhere near the dial with my hands. I'm just going to see if this is loose, which it is. So plastic. Let's tip it over again. Just see if it comes out. It's delicate, so you don't want to touch the hands and dial, so you just want to minimize any contact with your hand. I know that I'm stripping the watch down, that's why I've not got protective gloves, but you don't want to go near the dial with your hands. So I'll just touch around the edge. I'll just make sure I remove any grease. So as I will be handling the dial and hands a little bit more now, I will put on some finger protection just to protect that dial. It's just good practice, so I'll pop them on now, and then we'll get the stem back in, and we'll get the hands in a nice position, and we'll start removing the hands. Right, finger dots are on, so let's get the stem back in. That dial feels loose actually. It doesn't feel tight to the case. Look, you see that wobble? It's not good. Just nip that up. Just check if it's... No, that's not in tight, see? Let's go back in. That screw was loose when I first backed off the stem, so I'm just wondering if there's a problem there. Again, that's gone in. I was just scared of nipping it up, but I'm going to try a slightly smaller screwdriver. See how that's tight now, so I'm hoping that there isn't an issue, which just makes things a little bit more complicated. So I can wind it, just see if it's just freed it up ever so slightly, so I think we're in now. So yeah, it doesn't always go right first time. I'd rather show you what's going on rather than editing it out and just showing you me perfectly putting it in first time. But yeah, there's some play there. There's lots of play. Can you see? So there we go. We're in handset now. So let's line up all the hands. So that's fine where the hands are now. So we can get in. I'll show you with pegwood in case I touch the dial. We can get in with the hand levers here and here, and we're going to try and attempt to do them in one go. So the clearance is okay. I think we can get under there with the hand levers. I'll just show you the clearance there. So this is why you put the hand dots on, so you can handle the dial without being scared of transferring any sweat really, or residue from your hands onto the dial, thus damaging the dial. It's not your watch, you don't want to damage the dial. So plastic, always protect the dial. Now I'll show you which hand levers I'm going to use on here. Let's let the camera pick them up. So it's just basic hand levers here, nicely polished. And they'll just go, I'll show you the action, they just go in and up. And that's it. So I'll go in and make sure I'm under, and I feel that I'm under, I can see that I'm under, and just slowly, nice and controlled, I'm just going to start lifting up. And they have come off perfectly. If you use the other type where you use the plunger, there's not so much control with them. They do work, and there is times where you will use them, but I can feel all the way through there. If I was hitting a problem, there was a hand too tight, I can stop, maybe target that hand first. But no, I am happy with that. So I'm just going to literally tip the hands off. See how that dial's now coming away? So it just wanted to pop off. So I'm just going to pull it off. So I'm just going to put the hands and dial to one side, just off the camera there. And let's have a look underneath this dial. Wow. It's actually in really good condition. There's no dial washer there. See how that lever there is just holding this will be this will have 31T, so this is the calendar wheel there. Well, there's no washer there. Normally there's like what you call a dial washer, just to keep it down in place and to stop it floating around. I know this has a spring on here, but that has surprised me. Maybe it doesn't need one. We'll find out once we've ordered up the watch. But yeah, have a good look at this. So we have tested it. We know manually the date, the day, the month, and the moon phase did want to work. There's all little levers here and a little pit there, so we don't need to start going in and push, because if you're pushing in like this, you could slip. You know, you could go right across there or slip down into the movement. So I have checked that, and your best way of checking it is in the case. So I've done that, so I don't need to go through that now. So the next thing is to get this into a movement holder, take out the balance, check the escapement, and see if the trap power will run down. If it starts to run down, that's a good sign, and then we can investigate from there why it stopped, and hopefully it was just dry, because then we can continue on and strip the watch down and just check for faults as you would normally do. I'll get this in the movement holder now, and we'll get cracking. Okay, the movement is now in a movement holder. It's actually at a funny angle because we have to avoid these pushers here, so we don't want to put them in and crush the pusher, so that's why it's in this angle. And also you may have spotted this, the month disc. I've had to remove that because it was getting in the way, so that's just with the hands and dial now. So here's the movement. Now we said about, or I spotted the dial was loose. Now the dial foot goes through here, this hole. So there was a screw cam here originally that would tighten onto the bottom of the dial foot. So this is missing. So we're going to have to address this problem later on, and see, because we can't have a watch going out with a loose dial like that. So I'm sure I can get a screw that will do the job there, and there must be one underneath here as well somewhere, hidden. Again, is there a screw that we can find the design of and copy, and maybe see, is this part of the screw here, because there's two screws together. So once we strip that watch down, we'll have a look. So here's the watch. So first thing is to get that balance cock off, and then we can have a look at the escapement. So I'll do that now. Make sure when you take off a balance, you bring the hairspring away from the center wheel, so you don't catch the hairspring, and then just turn it, see where it is on the roller, and it will come free as you just lift slightly. So don't just pull at it, start lifting and turning, it will come away on its own. So I'm just going to put that to one side now, and we'll check it over later. But I have checked the actual pivots, and I have checked the hairspring originally, so I know that's good. So I'm just going to put that to one side for now. So I'll do a visual check down here, and also I'll get my pegwood and see if I can trick the escapement through. So use something soft. You don't want to shove your tweezers here and actually damage the pallets or the fork here. So if I was to shove something metal in, you can damage it. So don't use something soft like a piece of plastic or a piece of pegwood. So I can see now the escapement wants to lock and unlock correctly. So that's a really good sign. There's no damage there. So let's take the pallets out. Now I know there's full power, so what I can do is if you take it out and let it run down, you can obviously, if it's dry, damage something. So this is where you decide what to do. So you could take half the power off, which there's enough movement there where I can. So what I can do is I can just push back here and just release a little bit of the power. And just leave a small amount on there. So there's just a small amount of power. So that won't do any damage once I take the pallets out. Just here. Just be careful at this point. So you know there's a little bit of power. So just be gentle. Just put the screw in there so I know it's paired. Now I'm just going to go in, just pick up the pallets and lift them out in one straight go. So I know there's power and it didn't whiz round. So I'm just going to put some power. There's not much there at all. It's quite free, so what I'm going to have to do is get the eyeglass on, start checking the pivots, the end shake, on like the center wheel, the escapement, and I've checked the end shake and everything seems all okay. So let's get this bridge off and we can start investigating further. You always want to take them off as evenly as you can, so don't just attack it. Just work it loose. It will come loose. Take your time. And it will come off. Obviously there's lots of scratches on these plates, so you don't want to add any more yourself. It's by hacking at it. See how loose that is now? I can just lift that off. There's no force on there and you don't cause any damage, so I'll just check it on the back side, just make sure there's nothing obvious, no dirt there. You know, the pivots are, you know, dry, there's congealed oil there, but that's what you normally expect from an old watch. So there you go. So you can't just pull out this center wheel, but this has a center, it's a center seconds wheel really. So you got your center wheel just below and this goes around once a minute. Now can you see here where we discussed with the dial? Now here's the screw for it, and it's like a cam and it just grips the dial foot. That's quite tight, that. So I'm just going to back this off for now and just leave it loose so the dial foot can pass through. And I'm going to investigate why this wasn't doing the job. It could be where the dial foot has the metal's worn away, and when this is in the correct place it can't do its job. So that's something to look at. I just wonder if you can see that there. You see the hole. There you go. So now I'm going to move or remove the barrel ratchet screw. I'll see if my screwdriver is a bit too thick for that. So I'm just going to see how loose it is. Just use one slightly down. There you go. Wasn't tight. If you use a small screwdriver, if the screw's tight, then you'll bruise it. So don't. So what you'll have to do is redress your screw and just make the blade thinner so it could fit in this slot. Now this slot is quite thin, as you can see. Look how thin that is. So not all screws are that thin, so yeah, that's a bit of a nasty one really, but they can make you slip, so just be careful. Let's see how much power's left on here. There shouldn't be any. If there is, there'll just be a touch, so it's okay to remove it. Well, I think the issue is with this side here. It just seems it's not set right. Now, there is some end shake here actually. You see that? So I'm going to now remove the barrel bridge. I'm going to leave the upper crown wheel screw and core on for now, and I'll remove that later. I just want to get in and have a look at the underneath. This one's not quite out, it might be a different length. There you can see where I've removed the screws. Again, just slowly work round, don't just pull up on one side, you can damage something. Just go back to where they will work loose. If there's nothing wrong with the watch, they will normally work loose, so you don't have to pull and damage the plates. So there you go, I'll remove the upper crown wheel and screw and core at a later date. Now, let's see if this pulls out. Again, I'll inspect the pivots, I'll inspect for any dirt in the teeth. Let's remove the barrel. So the lid hasn't popped. So I can see there's a screw here come through. Now that's not causing an issue. Sometimes wrong screws or screws in the wrong position can cause something to stop or create friction, like this screw here was to come through. I'll just show you here, and it's to rub on the bottom of the barrel. It's the right length. I can see it's not gone over, I can feel it's not come through, but always check it because that could be your issue. Out you go. Again, I'll check you. The skate wheel again. I'll have a good look at this. See if we can get the camera to pick that up. There you go. I'll just show you that now, what it looks like, partly stripped down. So I'm not going to take this video any further now, because to remove this center wheel, there's a cannon pinion on the other side. Now, I can back this off and take this plate off, but then I can't then go on the other side and start trying to remove the cannon pinion, because you want this in its correct position. Because if this was to come off, you could twist this. So the correct procedure is to leave this in place, flip the movement round and start removing the parts on the front of the watch. But I'll leave that in for another video because it's quite lengthy. So this is where I'm up to now. So what I'll do off camera is check all the wheels, just make sure there's nothing untoward, there's no obvious dirt there. Take anything like that out before it goes through the cleaning machine. I'll show you the barrel disassembly and removing the mainspring in the second video, and I'll start looking into see if this screw is interchangeable for there. If it is, then I'll start going through my scrap pot and different graded screws to find a screw similar to this one. So there it is, that loose screw there. And then I'll go through all that in the next video. Again, after removed all the cannon pinion, I can flip this watch around, take this out, pull that wheel out, then start on all the mechanism on the date side, and then this motion work here as well. So I'll save that for the second video. If you liked it, please let us know. If you've worked on this movement before, pop a comment. And if you want to see more of these videos or any suggestions, it'd be grateful. And like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.